What's happening? Back here again at the Busch Wildlife Sanctuary with my pal David Hitzig, and we're going to talk a little bit about the bobcats today. I'm really excited because you're actually going to bring me inside the enclosure, huh?
You know, it's one of the things you always want to do is get in the enclosure.
Definitely.
But some of the animals, it just isn't safe.
Okay.
So today we're actually going to go in with the bobcats, get a closer look at them, and talk a little bit about the new enclosure that we just built.
Fantastic. So stick around. A good portion of my life has been all about action, which still holds true. But now I pour all that time and energy into wildlife conservation, education, and the pursuit of knowledge. This is Kamp Kenan.
Hey, babe! What you doing? Hi!
Perfect. I love it. So I'm pretty psyched, David. Now this enclosure, this actually was where the panthers used to be.
This was our old Florida panther enclosure, and we remodeled this recently and have moved the bobcats over here.
That's beautiful, man. And I actually had a hand in a little bit of this. I'm very proud of some of the pond work I did. But we're now going to walk in. Amy's going to get us in, and of course we're going to wait for David. David, what are kind of the do's and don'ts with bobcats? Even though they're a smaller cat, they're definitely a wild cat, and they're formidable.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to animals like this that are wild, the more used to people they are, the more dangerous they are.
Okay.
Because they want to come to you. These particular bobcats have a tendency to be a little bit more standoffish with other people, so it makes it a little bit safer for us to be in there because they don't want to necessarily grab a hold of you.
All right, well, what do I need to do when going in with the animals? Obviously, we're not going to be reaching out for them. We just want to kind of play it cool, right?
Amy's going to lead any interaction that we do. Amy is the one that's worked with these bobcats the most.
Okay.
They most certainly are more interested in Amy. They're very connected to Amy. So we're going to just follow her lead when we go in.
All right, awesome. So over here, these two over here, are these?
This one's going over to Amy. She's like, okay, let me go to Mom. Look.
We can come over?
Yeah, just kind of squat down.
Okay.
This is Penelope who's coming up to you.
Hi, Penelope.
This is Porter here.
You're so beautiful. And it's just one of those things, you know, the cats, I've always been drawn to the cats just because the way they move, their personalities, and, you know, as far as a predator is concerned, you really don't get better than a cat, do you?
No, I don't believe so. No.
I'll tell you a behavior that the cats do, and you got to watch this.
Okay.
Especially the bobcats. They have a tendency to jump up and bite your face.
Oh, fantastic.
It's just, you know, we have it's a natural attraction. I just want to look at that cat.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, next thing you know, at a clear blue sky, they'll jump up and.
Is it when you lock eyes with them?
No, it's just it's.
They do it to themselves for each other as
so
well.
It's like a greeting.
It's kind of, yeah, it's like a and then there's like a little bit of like almost like a dominance, like, oh, I'm going to get you first.
I see.
Because I watch them do it with each other as well.
Now, you know what's interesting? We were talking about the weeds in here, and one of the first things this cat did was they love to bite on the weeds. There's some enrichment to letting things grow wild, huh?
Well, and that was part of it. It's enrichment. They love it. They roll in the grass. They can hide, and I think it gives them a much more natural feel being in here.
You know, when we deal, a lot of the viewers out there deal a lot with reptiles. A little bit more low maintenance as far as how much you have to feed them, how often and frequent. With these animals, how much interaction and how much feeding do you have to do with them? Keep them stimulated?
Well, their feeding is done completely hands off from us. She'll be in your lap in
That's fine.
Like 2 seconds.
I'm remembering his face comment, you know? I gotta stay as pretty as I can, man.
You don't know how many times we've been sitting there with, you know, tissue on our face going, okay, we weren't thinking.
Yeah,
gotcha.
exactly.
But back to my question.
Well, for these guys, because they are so prey motivated, so food motivated,
right.
We do never do enrichment or working with them with food. Their feeding is done completely separate.
Okay.
Or we can hide food around the enclosure so they can actually hunt and look for it. So for them, they basically get fed once a day. They get a variety of meat. They're carnivores.
Gotcha.
And it's red meat typically is the bulk of their food, They will get mice and rats. They will get young chicken. They will get quail. They even get fish.
All that's pre-killed though.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything that we feed them is all pre-killed before we put it in here.
Okay.
And that's for a few reasons. One, we don't want the animals to accidentally get injured. I mean, granted, it can happen in the wild, but also we want to look at it from a humanitarian standpoint and humane standpoint. Although it is a natural thing for these guys to be predators and to capture and kill their food, it's not something that we want to subject the public to. So we want to be sensitive to how people feel.
I can't watch my face. I can only. Dude, I mean, she's loving me. I'm being loved to death. But like I was starting. Hold on. I know you're in the middle of something. I just was like, okay. It's really loving me now, though, Dave. Like, is it?
Well, we've now decided that hat is our next best thing in the world.
Okay.
And so that's what we want.
See, I'm trying to stay chill. How'd I do? Is that what I'm supposed to do?
You did good.
I did good.
But you can see even now he's still like that.
Well, if he wants the hat, dude, I would love to have.
You won't get it back.
They're
very possessive.
And they're also very, very. Their smell is just incredible.
Okay.
So when he smelt your sweaty hat, he was just like, I want it. And he will rub all over it. He will get in there.
Let's let him have fun. I think it'll add character to the hat, to be perfectly honest. Some of the, here we are, we're seeing some, is this affection? What is this?
It is, but it's the way that they show affection, like to each other and to things in their environment.
Okay.
So this right now is, they're marking you. You'll start to notice, you'll start getting slobbered on.
Yeah, I'm getting little love taps as well.
You're getting little love taps, you'll start getting slobbered on. And it's their way of, ooh, I like you, I'm bringing you in. You're now part of my environment, part of my world. Your hat will probably be soaked by the time we're
That's fine, man. Now, Dave, one of the problems is people will get these animals unlawfully. And this is not a pet. This is not an animal that does well in captivity, is it?
The easy answer is no. They don't. It looks like, God, this would be the most awesome thing for me to have. I would love to do it. But when it comes to a daily handling, you're not going to be able to cuddle with this animal on a regular basis. And there are times that the cat is not going to want to interact with you. And like I said before, they can inflict a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had in the past, even with some of our animals that we've handled on a regular basis, we've had incidences where people have been bitten by these animals and end up having to go to the hospital to be stitched up.
Oh, I'll bet. I want you all to know something about my hats, and my girlfriend is going to attest to this. When she sees what these cats are doing to my hat, she's going to realize that I am completely going out of my comfort zone. It took me a long time to get the hat into that shape, but now these guys are shaping my hat for me. Look, now he's even swatting it. But it's true, these animals, they get fixated on an object.
Well, and that's why you notice, if he decides this is his hat now, we don't take it away from him. Because that's now his. Now, when he's done with it, he'll give up on it and he'll give it back to you. But that's a trait of a bobcat. If you've got a house cat you play with the toy, and when you're done, the game is over.
Okay.
With these guys, that's not the case you're dealing with.
Okay.
It's on their terms. They become a wild animal when something is theirs.
And I mean, it is the difference between night and day. It is the difference between night and day. And it could be something totally insignificant. A funny story, Amy and I were traveling with the Bobcats one time. We were, where were we, in New York or California?
We were in California.
We were in California, I think for Jay Leno. We were actually doing an appearance on Jay Leno, and we had the Bobcats there. And one of the Bobcats grabbed Amy's makeup case. And it was game on from there, and she couldn't get anywhere near the Bobcat. I mean, it just went absolutely crazy. And it wasn't until I came in and was able to distract the cat for a single second, where he dropped it and let it go to focus on, oh, who's this in the room? We're able to do it, and then all of a sudden it was like the switch just turned right back the other way.
All right, well, let's try and get my hat back before it's destroyed, because I flew to Australia to get that hat.
You didn't take me to Australia, so they get to keep the hat.
Oh, come on, man. Well,
Give me just a second.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Oh, I can see, yeah.
Yeah, see, it's my hat now. It's my hat now. It's my hat. Can you get those claws out of it? Thank you.
Awesome. Oh, it's so amazing.
We're sitting here kind of in the corner,
right.
So we're really not getting a good feel of the enclosure and how cool the enclosure is. So why don't we step away from
good.
here and see if the cats will come and interact with us in the middle.
Okay.
There's some neat features here, and actually we got to give Kenan some credit. Kenan actually is responsible for helping us with the construction of our pond and waterfall here.
My finest work.
Yeah, we wanted to give them something that they could play around in. We gave it a nice wide coping on it so they were able to walk around. We were letting the grass kind of grow up, so it almost looks like it's a little natural pond here for them as well.
So it turns out whenever you need a bobcat in the vicinity of us, just give them my hat. And we have
your
no problem.
smelly hat.
My smelly stinky,
hat.
dank hat.
Sweater, sweaty.
And he's a sweater.
Okay. Any more adjectives you want to lump on to me and my hat, guys? You're the one with the tattered shirt. You changed your shirt. You should have seen the one he was wearing before.
It was a brand new t-shirt.
It was
I wanted
brand
to
new.
represent the sanctuary properly.
Yes, you did. Well, you know what? He's not only representing the sanctuary properly, Busch Wildlife is representing our native wildlife properly. If you'd like to get more involved or find out how you can volunteer, if you're down in Jupiter, Florida, go to bushwildlife.org, or as always, you can always make a donation. They're a nonprofit and they rely solely on the benevolence of people like you. So thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks, David, Amy, and who's this?
This is Porter.
And thank you, Porter, for destroying my hat. We'll see you on another episode of Kamp Kenan real soon.